and drive on. Telstra, the Navy, Army and Air Force, Amy, Victoria Bitter and KFC.
Straight between the posts.
The Newcastle Knights versus the Sharks. Friday Night Football on Nine's Wide World of Sports.
And welcome to Friday Night Football, coming to you from EnergyAustralia Stadium here in Newcastle. It is the much talked about clash between the Sharks of Cronulla, with Preston Campbell in the number 1 shirt tonight. There is no David Peachey, and of course they're up against Newcastle Knights, the defending premiers, winning all 5 matches at the start of the year. A massive crowd is in. They have closed the gates at Energy Stadium, and they are here, of course, to witness the return of Matthew Johns, who went out there with the Sharks unit, and now his brother Andrew leads the Knights out. Capacity crowd, fantastic atmosphere, and a couple of the stars are out of the Newcastle side for what should be a memorable encounter. Newcastle has only been beaten by Cronulla, I think, once here since 1988. At Energy or Marathon Stadium. The Johns brothers, 135 games together in the top grade as half and 5/8. They go head-to-head tonight. Let's have a look at the cards. Here's the team for the Knights.
O'Davis is at fullback. Morris comes onto the wing with Quinn. Tahu moves into the centres alongside Mark Hughes. Matt Gidley goes to 5/8. No Sean Rudder tonight. Andrew Johns, halfback and captain. Peden is at lock, Simpson in the second row, Abraham in for the injured Ben Kennedy, and a front row of Perry, Badiris and Parsons on the bench. Newton, O'Doherty, Esther Theo and Kurt Gidley. They are coached by Michael Hagan.
And their opponents, the Sharks, line up this way as per program. Preston Campbell fullback, Best and Luke McDougall on the wings, Paul Miller, Chris McKenna in the centres, Matthew Johns 5/8, Brett Kamali halfback, Nick Graham, Paul Gallen, Carl Lovell, Jason Stevens, Chris Beattie, Dean Treese is the hooker, Nutley, Bosnitz, Franze and McGoldrick are the interchange players, coached by Chris Anderson.
So the weather here has been kind to the promoters. Let's go to Andrew on the sideline.
Well, we're told the chance of a shower. That's the only bad news on the weather front. Huge night, though. Great atmosphere. You can't get too much better than this, but a big night for this man on screen, Brett Kamali. Don't worry about the clash of the Johns brothers. This young man on screen, he's been in good form, getting better every week. Key to the Sharks' chances tonight.
Paul Simpkins is the man that's got the match of the round.
Keep you on the
and
ball.
it is going to be the Sharks running from right to left, with the breeze probably just favouring Newcastle in the first half as big Matt Parsons takes it outside the 20-metre line. And Badiris is the dummy half for the Knights, and Simpson it is that takes the second play of the night to the 30-metre line. Let's keep an eye on the Johns brothers, waiting for them to come together. Played by Peden to the blind side. It comes for Andrew to kick, and it's gone straight down to the 20-metre line and beyond. It's turned out to be a quality kick. And on the return is Preston Campbell, losing the ball. And a chance here for the Knights. 10 metres out as Badiris runs at Campbell, and he puts the centre 3/4 away, Mark Hughes. Hughes has scored and the game is not 60 seconds old.
That is way too easy for the home side. What an awful start for Preston Campbell. He is in for a busy night, no doubt. Kicking game of Andrew Johns will be a feature tonight. And he's just lost that football in the combined tackle. And from the next ruck, they go the short side. Lovely little ball here from Danny Badiris. Preston Campbell going for the intercept, trying to knock the ball down. And Mark Hughes, he gets try number 5 for the season.
Yeah, lovely work by Badiris, wasn't it? They had the numbers there. Preston Campbell, in desperation, just stuck a hand out. And why wouldn't Michael Hagan be clapping? 54 seconds that took to score a try. It all came through a strong tackle over the top on Preston Campbell by Daniel Abraham. He came over the top, knocked the ball loose, and Mark Hughes virtually strolled through a gap.
So Mark Hughes picking up a try at the 54th second of the game. Wonderful start for Andrew's team. Here he is from 8 metres in from touch and 20 metres out. And it looks okay. It is there. 6-0. First minute of the game. Andrew.
Incredible start. They've scored 35 tries so far this season, now make it 36. Michael Hagan, their coach, actually said the players looked fatigued after last week's match against the Roosters. They'd played 3 games in 12 days. Light preparation for this week. They've freshened the players up. Could he ask for any better start than that? A 4-pointer in the first 60 seconds.
Cronulla does it again. And off the feet there of Bill Peden. 15 away from his own line. Perry, there was some thought that he might not play the game, but Josh is out there, as you can see. No Ben Kennedy, however. Here's Parsons toiling his way through the opening exchanges.
And the Knights are making a habit of getting away to a good start. In fact, in their last 12 games, they have not conceded a try in the first 20 minutes. They put plenty on themselves.
Looking for their 11th consecutive victory. Parsons into space. O'Davis, Badiris is with him. So is Peden. Davis tackled from behind by the speedster Colin Best. Andrew kicks back and across. Peden is there. Did he get it down before the dead ball line? Did he ground it properly? It has been a freakish kick by Andrew Johns.
Oh, an amazing kick from Andrew Johns. They should have scored the ruck before, though. Robbie O'Davis had 4 men unmarked on his left. Couldn't find them. And then Andrew Johns, this is just incredible. Something that he practices at training, no doubt about it. And see Billy Peden there, the 13, way back on the inside. He is onside. They check the onside. I think he's sweet there. Does he ground the football? Oh, does he? What? This is unbelievable.
Oh, that's unbelievable. They would have scored if he'd have passed to the left. I think they were just making the conversion easier. Unbelievable. And there is no doubt that they practice those types of kicks, but they are natural too to a bloke like Andrew Johns. Michael Hagan, not quite sure what he's questioning, but there is no doubt this will be a green try. That will be their second, just about as many minutes. He had numbers to the left, Andrew Johns, and somehow Billy Peden just knew the kick was coming his way.
Yeah, look at the bust. A simple inside ball it was to Big Matty Parsons. Robbie O'Davis, look, he had 4 players unmarked on his left. Didn't even look that way. That's okay. Very next ruck. And incredible stuff from Andrew Johns. How would you even think about that? With players in support on your left-hand side. A little short ball, they score down the left-hand side, but no. Do it the hard way, and the conversion successful. It's 12-0 after 4 minutes.
That second try coming at the 3.5-minute mark, again to Andrew Peden, the try scorer.
Well, Peter Sterling's right. They practice these kicks, but it's another thing to pull it off with such clinical precision as Andrew Johns does. It appears to be week after week. He did it a couple of weeks ago against the Canberra Raiders with a perfect kick for Mark Hughes tonight. Bill Peden, the player, rewarded with a 4-pointer. It's just great to watch.
Well, we thought their start against Parramatta in the grand final of last year was perfect. They are replicating that. 12-0 after 3.5 minutes. When was that bettered in the modern era? The 16 for Newcastle, is John Morris. He's playing the ball on the 30-metre line. A dramatic start in front of a crowd that came hoping to see something like this, but I guess hoping that it would also be an enjoyable night for Matthew Johns. Badira's back and across the ruck for Perry. And they hit the short side again with Simpson. Just a cavalcade of blue and red jumpers. Cronulla ambush from the start, and they're trying to regroup. He goes off the outside edge again. The bounce is high. McDougall is there.
He's like up in the air.
Yeah, it's a good
given
decision.
a penalty.
Yeah, the man taking the football was still up in the air and was tackled by a Newcastle defender coming through. Luke McDougall there, confronted by Robbie O'Davis. Again, the kick was a good one because it put pressure on. It is going to be a busy night for the two wingers and the fullback for the Sharks this evening.
So the free kick taken 20 metres away from their own line, and Beattie is slammed into the ground. Stevens this time. 15 for Newcastle is Daniel Abraham again in the second row. And this is Paul Gallen, 40 metres out from his own line. Apart from kicking the football, they have had precious few seconds with the ball. Kamali across to Matthew Johns. And a little roar from the crowd. Kamali now. And it is a charge down. Campbell goes back and tries to keep it on the boot. Then this weaving run from Preston Campbell. He wants to be in the show. Got the ball away and it's gone to ground. Chris McKenna it is, playing his 100th first grade game for the club tonight.
Yeah, great play there by Preston Campbell. It is a charge down, and just watch Preston. He doesn't dive on it. He toes it backwards himself. Got plenty of time to pick it up. Then he makes a nice 30-metre run. They could have done something here, the Cronulla side, but Chris McKenna drops it cold. He had support on the outside in Colin Best. Only one Newcastle player to beat.
Tahu away. John Morris tackled about 15 metres from halfway.
I know Preston Campbell was almost instrumental in putting a try on for his team, but if I was his coach, I would be telling him to dive on that football.
Played by one of the try scorers, Bill Peden. Oh, Parsons. Parsons got a Gidley ball away to Gidley, and it'll be played on the halfway line. Steve Simpson bumping his way 8 metres into Sharks area. Badira's finding Perry. Good young player, this fellow. High future. He's the kid that told his mum, he said, I'll play in a grand final in 1997. As Johns puts a kick in. Preston Campbell under pressure. Johns tried to keep it in play. And it may then have come accidentally off the feet of Campbell.
Yeah, he saw some room there, Andrew Johns. And, well, he flicked it back inside. It came off Preston Campbell.
Then he's had a snatch at it, Paul.
Yeah, he was... well, he was in touch.
I think...
How they got a 20-metre tap out of it.
I just thought that Andrew Johns might have had a foot on the sideline anyway.
That's right, so I think he was in touch when he touched the football, and
yeah,
should have been a scrum.
Here's Graham now on the halfway line. 12-0, a stunning start. Lovely ball by Kamali. Forward running right off his shoulder, Carl Lovell. And now Kamali again, starting to weave a little bit of his masterful rugby league. O'Davis bent over back in that northeastern corner. It's Quinn now.
Bit of a change in the Sharks attacking lineup as well. I'm used to seeing Nick Graham operate on the left-hand side of the ruck, a touch wider. Tonight he's been mainly over on the right-hand side when they've got the football.
Gidley with a long ball. Gidley playing at 5/8. Tahu is playing in the centre. Tamana shortening every day as a prospect of picking up an origin. Oh, Peter knocks on. Double knock on with Treaster doing the same to Mana Tahu a chance of making the Origin side, and those stocks have risen, as I was about to say. Double knock on, it'll be a Cronulla feed. Bill Peden. The agony and the ecstasy in the space of about 10 minutes for Bill. As the Sharks go on the attack, Matthews' pass on the bounce is with McDougall. That would have been another interesting clash tonight had Adam been available. Paul Mellor inside the 20-metre line. Beattie. Wouldn't Anderson love to see them score the next try? It would be a forlorn hope to come back from 18-0 down against Newcastle should the Knights be next. Kamali for Stevens. And it's come out. Did he lose the ball? Matthew Johns got it away. It's rolled in by Nick Graham, and Newcastle have cleaned up. Over there by Quinn. Gidley now. Still inside the 10-metre line. They're doing a lot of passing, a lot of chancy football, and they got it out 15 with Perry now.
Important tackle too by Josh Perry. He was the man that dragged Jason Stevens down close to the line. Looked as though the big man might have been able to power across.
64% of the possession has run with the Knights, and that of course is translated to the scoreboard. Just repeating, if you were just getting yourself a cup of tea or a beer or whatever, a glass of wine, 12-0 after 3.5 minutes in favour of Newcastle. A blinding start. Here's Campbell, and he's lost the ball.
Play on.
It's Simpson away. They won't catch Simpson. He's over, Stephen. That's their third try. What an embarrassing night for Preston Campbell. Just when people were saying the Dally M medalist of last year, last week had got to go at wing, this week at fullback, it has been embarrassing for him.
Well, it was a fantastic take originally from Preston Campbell, a difficult one. The chase is good, and then he just, well, I'm not quite sure what he's trying to do there. He's attempting to beat them with a little bit of light, fantastic, not having good ball security. Out it pops and big Steve Simpson. He can't believe his luck, neither can the Knights.
Yeah, I think a couple of these Cronulla Sharks players, they didn't play the whistle. They were waiting for that whistle to go off, and they just stood around and they watched this big fellow run away. Particularly the winger, Luke McDougall. He sort of stood there and ambled around.
Well, that's important. Brett Kamali going across to say, look, Preston, don't worry about it. Get up. We're with you. Everybody had have just gone back. Preston Campbell's night could just continue to go bad, but it was nice to see Brett Kamali go across and say, look, it can happen to anyone.
So 20 metres in from touch, Andrew Johns and his Newcastle Knights, they can't believe it. The crowd is happy, but in a funny way stunned. This will be 18-0. And it is in fact 18-0. The coach, well, you can't be anything else other than happy. Give us a smile, Michael. 18-0 as we take a break. 3 converted tries, and we have not yet reached the 14th minute. Matt Parsons. And you, Cronulla, have really supported 2 of the tries. They had as much to do with it as anybody. The problem there is that Dean Treaster.
It is. He was hurt when tackling Matt Parsons front on, as the other front rower, Josh Perry, takes it 32 out centre field.
Badiris and Parsons, with all of the spectacular things happening, Paul, the efforts of this bloke, Matty Parsons, we mustn't forget them. There's the injury to Treaster, but Parsons is like a big battering ram. Badiris over halfway, putting a fend up.
Yeah, he had a great game last week against the Roosters, and once again tonight he made the bust for an earlier try as they go wide. Now inside ball, no, a centre kick.
Morris with the centre kick, and it's with McDougall, who's picked up and driven, losing about 4 metres under the tackle, and the tackle was from Tahu. This is Beattie. This is John Morris reacting to a call from Andrew Johns, and then watch that tackle of Tahu. He drives him back from the 20-metre line, a good 4 metres, but Cronulla in the interim picked up a penalty. 2-0 the penalties in favour of the Sharks. Treaster's okay, takes the tap, and Stevens crosses the halfway mark. 18-0. 3 converted tries to Newcastle. The 11 is Gallen, 33 metres out from the Newcastle line. Played back to Treaster and given to Beattie, and Beattie runs at Parsons. Parsons takes him and then rolls him on his back. Big man on big man. 62 tackles to 29 tackles. That's the way it has panned out for the Sharks. As Kamali then runs across to Matthew, and Andrew is on top of him. No acknowledgement from Ida. And then good work by the fullback O'Davis. That was snappy work. Has he? Yes, he stayed in the field of play. So that was the first time they've really come close to each other. As Daniel Abraham runs it 18 metres out from his own line. Here it is, Kamali with the pass to Matthew, and Andrews come in off Matthew's blind side, snuffed him out. I thought there might have been a pat on the head or something, but there was no animation, no emotion. Tahu was picked up and put down, but it's a penalty for inside the 10 against the Sharks. Tamana's partner having a child just last week, preventing him playing in the Roosters game.
A little baby boy for Tamana. Congratulations. I agree with you, Ray. I think he's on a very short list for State of Origin representation. And Steve Simpson, he's taking a giant step towards that as well this evening.
So the Knights with Gidley cutting through, unloading for Peden. O'Davis is with him. O'Davis, Preston Campbell tried valiantly, but Peden loves to get a try, goes in for his second, duplicating his grand final performance. 22-0, Fat Man.
Oh, this is all too easy for the Knights. The simplest tap play you could ever have. It's just straight out passing. Look, they've got numbers all over the place, but it's just bad defence, really poor defence. They both went low on a big man, and Billy Peden straight away. Preston Campbell did his best, but look at this. When Peden puts the ball down, there's at least 8 or 9 Newcastle jumpers around him, not a Cronulla jumper inside.
He's a marvel, isn't he, Billy Peden? He's the elder statesman of the back row for the Knights. He's got a 20 and a 21-year-old playing alongside him in that back row, and he plays with the same enthusiasm. I think Phil Gould once said, give me 13 Billy Pedens and I'll win you a State of Origin series 3-0. He just puts in every week.
So the conversion successful off the boot of Andrew Johns. That's 4 converted tries. Newcastle 24, the Sharks nothing, and a quarter of the game not yet gone. Kamali starts again. All these Cronulla players that have been toiling in defence, they're hunched over in back play, just grabbing as much oxygen as they can. Here's Gidley now lurking wide. He's playing at 5'8", that can contain that ball that he has mastered to people like Tahu and Hughes and McDougall. First change of the match made by the Sharks. Halfway line. That's where we are as we go over the centre of the ground. And Andrew uses Peden. Peden goes back and picks up Abraham. And 5 tackles now have gone for the Knights as they go down the short side. Gidley puts in his own brand of kick. Coming across McDougall, beats Andrew Johns. Badeiras catches a ride. He was hanging out the back like a parachute there, Denny.
He's having a big game, Matthew Gidley, playing in the 5'8" role tonight with Sean Rudder being out. He's popping out balls. He's the usual Gidley pass, that one he does on the right-hand side, the flick, and also a great ball for that try a little while ago when 2 men, Matthew Johns and Paul Gallen, both went low on him.
Danny Nutley is on, but there's been a forward pass. The crowd roared and said, where's the penalty or where's something, and it was forward apparently from the dummy half. So a scrum will pack. Campbell again involved. It was his pass. So he's having a less than memorable night. You've got to feel sorry for quality players when they have a night like this. They've given us so much enjoyment, so much entertainment, particularly last year, this young Cronulla fullback tonight. And tonight you feel the embarrassment with him, don't you? As we go to the right side of the ground, and Tahu has got his personal confrontations going on before using John Morris. Now it's with Peden. Peden runs at Nutley and they put him down. Andrew?
I'll tell you what, Chris Anderson, I don't know what options he's got on his bench tonight. You mentioned Denny Nutley out there. Look at some of the other players. There's two inexperienced blokes out there, Paul Franze and Ryan McGoldrick. Both, when they get their chance tonight, will be making their first grade debut. How would you like to be coming on in the cauldron at 24-0 down?
Johns across and then dropping it back onto the lap of Perry. And now they're 12 metres out from the line again. Badiris runs at them. He had Andrew Johns with him. Andrew's a dummy half. Then it's gone away to Gidley. Back on the inside for Hughes. Hughes beats one. Then he goes to ground losing the ball.
Well, he's hurt. I think he's copped a high tackle. The referee's called someone out straight away. And he's still down, Hughes. It's a promising run, but he's copped one high.
It may be Nutley again.
Okay, got to be down.
He's called Carl Lovell.
They've still got him high. Okay, so it's on report.
That's the reason he lost the football. It is on report.
Well, that's the first cause for concern that Michael Hagan has had, but it's a very groggy Mark Hughes. He's not a good colour yet. He went down. It was a shocking tackle high.
Well, he wants 2 points. They're leading 24-0. And he wants 2 points.
Well, I can understand that.
Yeah, I'll give him
four converted tries at the moment. Now the opposition need to score 5.
Nice little breather for them as well. But personally, I think I'd be looking for 30.
I would have thought the bloke with the C next to his name has got enough intelligence and ability to make the decision without all the help that seems to come from the sidelines. We are talking about the best footballer in the world at the moment. I don't know that he needs any help making up his mind.
Well, I think Paul's argument really would be along the lines of the fact that probably the Sharks are keen for them to kick the 2 points here. Penalty situations like this, that's how you assess it. You want to know what the opposition want you to do.
Look, I just, in the mood they're in.
Just keep going.
Oh, absolutely. And they score within 6 tackles.
You've backed 7 blacks in a row. Why stop backing them?
Absolutely.
That's the way you feel? Here.
Yeah, because
put 100 on for me.
8 costs you $1 million.
Well, Mark Hughes, I don't think they're going to even entertain the thought of bringing him back. He has been heavily concussed and he's being walked around by the trainers as Andrew raises the flags. The penalty goal. And it is now 26-0. And we've had 22 minutes. So they're in front of the clock by 4. Andrew.
And Ray, I think Carl Lovell might have a little problem come Monday. He's already got a carryover problem. He's got 93 points carryover from a high tackle against the Broncos just a fortnight ago.
That's Clint Newton into the action as we see Mark Hughes going into the sheds. Kurt Gidley has come on to occupy that centre position.
Robbie O. And a spirited run there away from dummy half by Danny Badiris. Sees a penalty again go to Newcastle, and he must have been playing an advantage, and then he said just we're inside it anyway.
As against Brett Kamali, he missed the tackle, then came over with a flop just to hold things up.
So it's a very good penalty. It's gained a lot of ground. The tap taken 30 metres out from the Cronulla line. Simpson, who scored one of the tries here tonight. Now Perry stepping like a halfback. Gidley tried to get a one-handed pass away. Campbell now picked up in defence from behind.
I'll tell you how bad things are going for the Sharks at the moment. Paul Gallen missed Josh Perry. He was beaten by a step from the big man and hurt his knee in doing so. See the right knee buckle there. The young man, well, he's back on his feet now. Very tender.
Play by Graham now. And this is Kamali, and to Beattie we go. 34 metres out from their own line. A mountainous score growing against the Sharks as they get a penalty. And Kamali more or less punching it over the touchline. 32 metres out from the Knights line. That is Nutley in 14. 26-0 the score. Gallen, who did some damage to his knee. Originally I thought it might have been very serious, but he's obviously quite okay. Now Kamali, Beattie taken by Andrew Johns. And now from Treaster. Across it goes for Matthew Johns. And that's Chris McKenna. Campbell, Kamali, and Nutley did well. Then away for Kamali again. Puts a little kick in behind, but John Morris read it well. Morris cleaning up for the Knights.
Not only are they in front 26-0 on the scoreboard, they're reading everything that the Sharks are doing so well. A great tackle there on Chris McKenna by Clint Newton, and Andrew Johns handled an inside ball, and then of course the young winger handled the kick. John Morris, and now a penalty.
This match has certainly been highlighted by penalties. It's almost as though Paul Simpkins hasn't stopped blowing his whistle. They are really only 7. I thought it was more than that, but they are really clamping down on the markers, not standing directly in front. It's a bit like the Highway Patrol. This week we're targeting speeding, and next week drink driving. At the moment we're in the middle of this targeting in front of the man playing the ball. 12 missed tackles from the Sharks. Nothing surprising there in that stat.
Estetheo on in jersey 18 just played the football as Johns. The big left foot step finds Newton up the middle.
So Newton got a pass away, and Cronulla's come up with it. It seemed to come off Danny Badiris as it went back, and then it went off him, and Chris Beattie, of course, coming up with it. So a little bit of good fortune coming the way of the Shark. Nutley, head down on the halfway line. And that's how they came by the football. As Beattie is taken down by 2 of the Knights, Estetheo and Badiris. Kamali running back, picking up Matt Johns, back on the inside, Campbell. It is loose again. Kurt Gidley in 19. This is Quinn on the halfway line. O'Davis away for Daniel Abraham. Peden. 63% now in favour of Newcastle. The possession. Johns stepped off his right foot and then slipped and went down under the tackle of Nutley. He's okay. Gidley. Inside ball for Clint Newton. He was looking on the inside for that ever-present runner. Estetheo for Andrew Johns, the kick, and into the corner it goes. The bounce has come down to Newcastle, and that is the turnover. The defence almost threw the Newcastle player over the line. When it's rolling your way, anything can happen. Tamanatahu finishing up with it, and then the tackle on him almost rolls him into the in goal.
Now a Cronulla mistake, only 10 metres out from their own line. Lost ball in the play, the ball there by Mellor. And once again Newcastle on the attack, looking to get into the 30s.
I'm just thinking, and I was before the match, about the Johns parents, Gary and Gail, I think their names are, as Andrew decides to try and slide down the side of the scrum. He'd be very mixed up in their emotions at the moment, wouldn't they? The parents of Andrew and Matthew. As Daniel plays the ball, 7 metres out from the line, but Badiris works it across to Gidley, and the ball is with Colin Best for Cronulla. Speed to burn, but too much defence on his own 20-metre line. Nutley. That melon of his takes a battering. He uses it as a bumper bar. Graham. He's played more football. Lovell is off, but Graham has played more football than any other player in first grade, I notice in the newspaper reports today.
And he has gone back to his favourite side, left of the field in attack for the Sharks. It seems more natural for him over that area. As Preston Campbell finds Kamali, 41 out, the high kick.
Pressure here for Anthony Quinn. And he's not had to leave the ground. He just kept his eyes on it, stayed firm on the feet, and he was able to come up with a clean catch on it before being tackled by McKenna. 19 is Kurt Gidley, the younger brother of Matthew. Andrew on the sideline.
Ray, you were talking about the Johns parents. Very good story about Gail Johns tonight, the mum of the two brothers. She's not actually at the game, and she's got a very good excuse. She's babysitting all the grandkids, so she's not here, but the father, Gary, is here as the Knights get another penalty. Josh Perry currently in the dressing rooms with a rib problem, expected to be back, and likewise Mark Hughes, also early indications he will return.
I'd say she's probably fending off CEOs who are coming around with contracts trying to sign the kids.
Grandkids.
Exactly.
Now here's Andrew going back to the blind side to link up with Quinn. Put down by the defence of Cronulla. It's been fragile. It's been broken many times tonight. Parsons, is he okay?
It's placed very awkwardly in this tackle. One of those ones where your knees can get hurt, your back. See, he's bent right back there, and it'd be no surprise at all to hurt an ankle or a knee in that situation.
Paul Simpkins, I think, has suggested somebody else played the ball, and they've moved Parsons away, but now they've called him back. So the big fella plays at 10 metres out. This is Estetheo.
That's 3, clear the ruck.
The Dearest has a gap.
Oh,
I think he's
play
short.
properly, Denny.
Yes, he is. Andrew now. Swept away quickly for Gidley. Matthew. Tackled 5 metres out from the line. The Dearest is dummy half now. John's on the right. John's kicking off that outside edge, and there it is again. It's on again. John Morris has scored. Pinpoint accuracy. The corkscrew. Got to call it something. It's the corkscrew again.
Well, we've run out of superlatives. What else can we say about him? He's just a Fanigan freak. I've never seen anyone else in rugby league kick the football like this. Pinpoint accuracy. And these blokes out wide, they just hang around.
And just have a look at McDougall. He's actually going infield, which is where you would expect the kick to be going. And then all of a sudden, he's found out that it's going towards his winger, and he does not have time to get back. For all intents and purposes, it's going to be a little chip in behind the line. And now all of a sudden, the number 5 has to turn around, hair back across, and it's all too late.
Well, Paul Horton, you brought a lot of interested comments last weekend with your comment about Andrew being the best footballer you've seen, or maybe you were misquoted. You put him on an equal par with Wally.
Yeah, look, I think for mine, he's on a par with Wally. He's the best player I've seen in the last 20 years. But, you know, Wally's career is finished, and this bloke, well, he just seems to be getting better. And what is he, 28? He's got quite a few years left yet. But he continues to amaze with the level at which he plays every game he ever plays.
Has he got a bit more versatility than Wally, do you think?
Well, look at what he's doing now.
What he's doing now, for instance, yes.
He's about to, make it 6 from 6, you would believe.
It is 30-0. It looks like he's going to need the number 2 as well. 32 blocked. The busiest man here is the scoreboard attendant as we take a break. Kamali. He came here with his own personal battle against Andrew Johns tonight, and it'll be probably impossible to measure it because he's playing behind a side that's just getting absolutely whacked Newcastle can make a mistake, as evidence there from Peden. So to be wrong to sort of say that he's been outpointed totally by Andrew Johns. It's a position that's very vulnerable. If your forwards are getting beaten, your team's getting whacked, for you to have an even contest with your opposite number. Here he is, Kamali now, sweeping it away. Oh, Matthew Johns, he doesn't want too many of those passes. Here's Preston, 23 metres out from the line. He'll be happy just to come up with the football. Best finding Matthew. Inside ball for Nutley. That is the 20-metre line. And look at that crowd in the bleachers. Wonderful crowd. Stevens getting it. Is that Gallen? 10 metres out from the line. Nick Graham. Ankle. Bootlace tackle from Badiris. Kamali. Flat ball for Stevens. Stevens won't go down. Now he does. Under the tackle of Simpson. They're close to the line. Matthew Johns floats it over to Chris McKenna. And coming up and making the tackle, Kurt Gidley. Turnover. So they're doing everything well. About 5 minutes of the first half to go. And Mark Hughes, you saw him slammed in a high tackle by Carl Lovell. We'll get a report from the doctor on him. Completions. Well, Newcastle's is very satisfactory, isn't it? The 17 is not satisfactory, though. Jared O'Doherty scrambles to his feet. Andrew, how's Mark Hughes?
Yeah, well, it's not good. The update now from the medical staff. Mark Hughes won't be returning tonight because of the concussion. It really does put up the argument, put forward a good argument on there should be sin binning for foul play. I mean, Carl Lovell, referee saw the incident, put him on report. Maybe he should serve 5 or 10 minutes in the bin.
Parsons, and that's the tackle. I mean, it's absolutely straight across the mouth. You can't make an argument for Lovell. And Morris loses the ball, so it's the turnover. They tried to do something on the final tackle rather than kick it. Yeah, it's an interesting argument. Should a player place and report for foul play, necessitating the removal of a player? Should he not be sent to the sin bin for, say, 10 minutes as the early part of his penalty? Stevens.
Their current form, the Newcastle Knights, are very much like the Brisbane side 10 years ago, that if you relaxed against them, they were going to hurt you from any part of the field, and that's probably as big a rap as I can give them. I'm talking about when, you know, the likes of Renouf were there that could go the length, Willie Kahn, just great attacking players. Now you cannot relax against Newcastle because they'll come at you 10 from their own line.
Gee, that's a good ball by Stevens. He was hammered by the defence and he still was able to take the buffeting and come back and get the ball away. And here's a knock on. Just as they were looking dangerous. This was the tackle on Stevens. I mean, there was a lot of traffic in there and a lot of punishment, and the big man just flopped a pass out. And here's where the ball is lost. Question could be asked, was it raked out by Newcastle or was it lost through his own inability to handle it? Chris Anderson. .760 errors. I would have thought that statistic would have been higher against Cronulla. Peden showing some of the wounds from the battle, what there has been of the battle. It really had water poured on it from the opening 6 tackles. Repeating, they were in. Under a minute they were in. And then inside 3.5 they're in again. Here's Tahu. And the ball has been, I fancy, stolen, but the referee has ordered a knock on. And he'd be relying on his touch judge.
Well, I think there should have been a penalty there myself. It was sort of he was tackled and going nowhere, and it was a late flurry there from McDougall over the top. He was getting up to play the football as far as I was concerned. Tahu.
So here's the Sharks, 22 metres out from Newcastle's line with the Centurion, Chris McKenna. What a night to celebrate 100 first-grade games, and he's been very good for the Sharks since he came down from Brisbane. Utility player, good player, Origin. Now Graham holding it back. thinking that he might have given the pups for Bosnick. Kamali across for Stevens now. This is the best chance they've had. Close to half-time. Kamali, and that was Matthew Johns. He's fallen short. And the ball, I think, is with Robbie O'Davis. So Matthew has gone within a blade of grass of putting it over the line. That would have really been a highlight of the party.
In fact, he would have scored if it hadn't have been of the arm of Robbie O'Davis. The assignment tonight for the Newcastle forwards defensively would have been to make sure they were aware for any inside runners. Both Kamali and Matthew Johns love picking up angled runners back on the inside, and that wider pass from the halves as well. And so far they've read it all beautifully as Badiris throws an intercept, Gallen knocks on.
Paul Gallen trying to put up an argument that he wasn't in the wrong here. It looked like he's just gone for an intercept and it's gone forward off his hand.
He offers so much from dummy half, doesn't he, Badiris? Outstanding player, getting better all the time. He's got speed, skill, he can take them on. Draw and pass situation, he's very good.
32-0, close to half-time. Half break from Gidley. 14 is Clint Newton. Bootlace tackle by Matthew Johns. And down the short side with Parsons now. Morris is with him. And took it into touch. Scrum pack. 25 metres out from the Sharks line. Parsons is okay. That was the best part of watching him run. That knee is okay. And then John Morris, who's had an exciting couple of weeks.
Down with him, Danny.
Halftime siren should be with us now. And it is with Matthew Johns, who's taken by his brother. Campbell got it away. Kamali runs with it. And Andrew helps Matthew to his feet. Matthew just looks at the ground. Didn't even say thank you. He'd be so disappointed. We thought we'd seen the last of Matthew Johns on his favourite ground in the whole world. And then as things would have it, he wasn't to retire in England. He was to come back to the Sharks and tonight go head-to-head with his brother. And all the aces are with Andrew and the Knights at 32-0 as we take our half-time break. Sharks coming back as we welcome our television audience back to us. 32-0 is the score in a stunning half of football from the Newcastle Knights. And they were away to a flying start, scoring in the first minute. They were in again at the 3.5-minute mark. And before Cronulla had really had time to acclimatise to Energy Stadium, they were behind 12-0 in a match that was already gone for them. 32-0, you'd have to be a super optimist to think they can get back. Preston's had an unhappy night. Here's the possession flow coming up now.
And it does show how dynamic they were in the first half. That try there was in the 18th minute, so that's about the halfway. Their first try, they didn't even have possession. Preston Campbell scoring. Just one error in the first 20 minutes, then 7 errors, all these black columns. Michael Hagan will not be happy with that. First 20 minutes was great, the second 20 nowhere near as good. Now looking at the Sharks flow, again dividing it into 20 minutes of football, that's about there. Not much football in this first half. It did pick up in the second, but still only 3 times did they get through to the 5th tackle, and 10 from 18. You're expecting 22, 23 possessions. They just had no footy.
And some match stats for you at 32-0. You'd expect all the stats to be going Newcastle's way, and that is exactly the case. Look, they've hardly had to make 89 tackles compared to 144. Look at the missed tackles, only 2 by the Sharks, 2 by the Knights, 14 to the Sharks. And possession rate all Newcastle's way.
So tonight they look for their 11th consecutive victory. And that's a very high start to the second half, and Matthew still had enough time to catch it cleanly and offload to Jason Stevens. I thought at least he would get hit by the defence converging. That's Bosnich. And a penalty. Hand on the ball is the ruling this time. Most of the penalties tonight have been the 10 metres and standing in front or not standing in front of the man playing the ball. This is, I think, the first one we've had for actually a hand on the ball. And penalties now 5-4 in favour of the Sharks, who are down on the 30-metre line. The ball coming across to their number 15, Bosnich again. Treaster looking off to his left, and that's where he puts it, with Graham turning it back for Nutley. Treaster then again. Nick Graham. Kamali. And then Stevens looking to catch and pass. Loose ball picked up by Kamali, taken from him. And it's with Estetheo. Interesting one that. Was Kamali held in the tackle? He was on the ground, certainly. There's the ball picked up. And then he breaks free of Estetheo's tackle and the ball becomes loose and it's there for the offering.
Well, it's virtually a one-on-one steal. I mean, he did lose it and Estetheo was there to pick it up. Inside ball again from Andrew Johns.
This is Clint Newton. Or Kurt Gidley, I should say, in the 19. Johns with this raking kick down into the corner, northwestern corner, and it is with Colin Best, who's tackled just inside the 20-metre line. Grant hand side. Campbell. Treaster. I guess of all the people interested in the Preston Campbell story, as it's gone on and on and on over the weeks, Treaster might feel a little bit as though the pendulum has swung back his way with the number 9 shirt back on his back. Certainly the best dummy half in the Sharks unit. And rightly now he's got the right number on his back. Oh, lovely catch over there. Is that Tahu? Tahu catching it. He was actually standing right on the batting crease. It doesn't get any closer than this. He went up for a charge down. The ball stuck in his big right hand. And now, as we come away from that replay, a penalty has gone to Newcastle for this offside play against the Sharks. Up inside the 10, or the 7, or the 8. And now the tap will be taken just outside the Sharks' 20-metre line. Parsons. And there's the ball rolling loosely on the ground, much to the dismay of Matt Parsons, as the sideline eyes return from the sheds. Andrew, yes.
Well, Ray, I'll tell you what, I can't actually tell you anything what was said in the Sharks room at half-time because it was a behind closed doors meeting. Chris Anderson, the coach, and the players only at half-time. So a real heart-to-heart, some very serious talk went on in there. But from the Knights room, pretty simple message from Michael Hagan, no let-up. And on the injury front, Josh Perry now unlikely to return. It's actually an injury above his hip, just below his ribs, above his hip. They tried a needle, it hasn't had any effect. So Josh Perry unlikely to return. And on Mark Hughes, if you can see the lighter side of a concussion, he's sitting up, he's okay, but he thinks it's Sunday. And with that in mind, apparently a few of the Knights players who are known to have a bit of a punt wanted to know what won the races yesterday.
If they know, can you give me a yell?
Kamali turning it in. And Peden unable to do anything about it. O'Davis then comes back. Tackled on the Sharks' 40-metre line. Fairly scrappy start to the second half. Badeiras. O'Doherty. Peden. Just inside the 30. Play back to Dan Badiris. Now for Johns, and then for Matthew Gidley, a one-hander away to Tamana Tahu. Tahu whistled down by Paul Mellor. Now this has got to bring a penalty. Newcastle will go firmly onto the attack. And a tap taken quickly by Johns. Swept across to Kurt Gidley. Quinn. 10 metres from the Sharks line. They've stacked the blind side. And Kurt Gidley losing the ball. Campbell getting it back into the field of play.
You're right, Ray. It has been a scrappy start to this second 40 metres, and I'm sure that both coaches at halftime would have told his team or the respective teams to start again. Michael Hagan, he wants his team to be disciplined in this second 40 minutes. Forget the scoreline, let's start again, and that's the same message to the Sharks. Win the second half for me. Realistically, we're not going to win this football game, but we've got to build on something next week on what we do in this next 40 minutes.
Morley taken down by Kurt Gidley. Now Matthew Johns running at many of his old teammates. Treaster. Kamali's kick going back into the centre of the park. O'Davis goes away to his right urgently. And it is brought back by John Morris in a determined run. Sprinting outside the 30-metre line. O'Doherty now shapes to put it back in the middle. Finds Andrew Johns. He does the same, turning it back on the inside. Played by Morris again, and Johns goes out for Tahu. Luke McDougall over there making the tackle. That's Newton. And he comes up without the football, so another scrum will go down.
Well, it's been a pretty ordinary display by both teams, hasn't it? In the opening 8 minutes of this second half, not much doing for either side. Just notice every time Andrew Johns gets the football, he's always got support on the outside, but I'm sure Michael Hagan has given other players instructions, just hang back on the inside of Andrew Johns. Because if he's covered on the outside, he can pop you one back in there, and there's always room to move.
There's Matthew Johns. Combining with Preston Campbell. Theo Davis did well. He went up to take Matthew, read the play, dropped off that tackle. Oh, big hit. O'Doherty on Nutley. And lost by Gallen. Might have been knocked on by Clint Newton. Referee said no, play on. O'Davis, Johns, shut down by Mellor. Put himself outside Johns and between Johns and O'Davis. Parsons battering it up the middle. Badiris then looks for Gidley. Matthew cuts out Peden and goes wide. Chance here for Quinn, but he's in a touch.
Yeah, great cover defence, wasn't it? Good to see wingers heading for the touch line with some players chasing hard. Good ball here. They always had in cover for pace, Colin Best and Chris McKenna.
You deserve a better stadium.
Crowd figure just given out over the PA. It's upwards of 26,000. They can't put any more in here. Here's McKenna.
That's one, stand up.
26,721 in fact. Ground announcer congratulating the crowd, and then the motto up here is "We deserve a better stadium." I wonder will the Pollies be listening to them? They certainly could put more in here if they had a better ground. Played by Treaster to the right for Stevens.
While their team is in this vein, they will continue to turn out in numbers. In fact, tonight the Knights looking to win 11 successive games. That would equal what Brisbane did in the early 90s. 19 is still the record set by the Eastern Suburbs team.
4 changes made by both. Kamali's kick is high, over towards Tahu, and Miller basically waited for Tahu and then shut him down.
Simpkins for 50 Reynolds. And interchange 6.
This is Kurt Gidley, smashing tackle. Treaster was underneath, and then the 15 came in over the top. Bosnich. Newton waiting to play it. Play back to Badeiras. O'Doherty runs the angle across the back of the play the ball, trying to link up on the right-hand side with Andrew Johns, who's got the ball now. Kicking on the halfway, and Colin Best, 15 out from his own line. And he's taken by Matthew Gidley. I thought for a moment he was away, and he is one player that certainly would not be caught. Quick play the ball there by the 16 who's on for the Sharks, Fronze. And Andrew Johns missing Bosnich. It's gone away from Graham to Mellor and then to McDougall. McDougall taken by Morris. Ball on the ground. No strip. O'Davis comes back and floats a pass wide. It's with Daniel Abraham. Kurt Gidley. One of the players that they took on the squad to England for the World Club Challenge.
Concern continues on the Sharks bench for Paul Gallen. Looks like he's picked up a shoulder problem as O'Doherty almost gets through the line. So to Danny Badeiras, just receiving some attention as Matty Parsons takes a 35 out. He tackles up this lead, they go the same way.
Gidley. Morris. Very competent, this boy on the right side. He's not playing in the position that he enjoys most. I think he's more of a half 5'8". He's doing a good job on the wing as the ball goes high off the boot of Johns and Colin Best, who is very, very tall, very athletic, right up above the pack. That is Fronze. If ever you can. And there's the ball lost by the Sharks. So we'll take a break here. 32-0 the Sharks are down. No addition to the halftime score. First tackle on top of the scrum as Gidley gets it away to his brother Kurt. And Kurt, an arc-like run ending in front of the uprights 15 metres out. Simpson now. 10-metre line. Andrew. Bullet-like pass for O'Davis. O'Davis got rid of 2 of them. Beat a third. He's over the line. Forced back. Brilliant run by O'Davis. Badeiras and Andrew Johns is tackled by Paul Mellor. Daniel Abraham. Gidley calling it left, and Gidley puts that little grubber kick in, and it's too strong, so out for a 20-metre restart from the Sharks.
It wasn't a great run. Kamali misses him once, comes again and misses him again, but he can do that, Robbie O. He can beat players. Very fleet of foot, great skill. He's back to his best this year.
Matthew Johns. Nutley, 40 metres away from the Knights line. Kamali, wide ball for Nick Graham. And this is the last tackle now for the Sharks. Chasing his high score. Kamali. McKenna puts it down, hoping, and away comes Dan Badeiras. Caught on the 30-metre line. This is O'Doherty. He's worked hard. He's grabbed this opportunity in both hands, and the penalty goes against the Cronulla defenders.
Well, a chance there for Cronulla to post their first try. Good to see Brett Kamul. He spotted the gap. He's got the speed, got through it. Well done. Inside ball to McKenna, and the support was too far away. Preston Campbell not close enough to get to that ball. But, I mean, when you're 32-0 down, you're entitled to throw a few around, I'd imagine. He came up with that elusive first try.
Just as well for the Sharks that it was Danny Medeiros. If it had been Tamana Tahu, he would have been putting it down at the other end. Nobody was at home. Preston Campbell had chased. It was Abraham. Takes it 30 out, making a really good job of the transition from fullback into the back row for the Knights.
Simpson to the 20-metre line. 6 changes the Knights, 5 the Sharks. 32-0 the score. Johns working with Gidley. Gidley able to unload. Medeiros was there. Johns is there supporting him. And now they're on the 10-metre line, as you can see. Right in the centre of the park. And Andrew is slow to rise. Ball goes out to Morris on the right flank. And the Sharks keen to put him into touch, and they do. And Johns sunk to the ground.
Yeah, it might be a case of just being winded. He might have copped one down below.
Well, of course, the concern is that it's this ongoing groin problem that he has. The crowd here waiting with bated breath. What it does appear to be.
Well, there's 26,000 Nova Catherians holding their breath. But he's up, he's about, as they would all expect.
Ground record crowd here when it was open slather was 32,600 odd back in 95 against Manly. And then, of course, they were forced, I'm sure, by safety regulations to keep it down. This is Paul Mellor. Ball knocked out in the defence. And it's with Robbie O'Davis. O'Doherty. Newcastle firming to favouritism for the premiership in the last week. And here's a hand on the ball. And a penalty to Newcastle. It's away from Andrew Johns out to Steve Simpson. Johns himself seldom misses a try. Does he get this down? Yes. Andrew Johns picks up his traditional try. It might be the first of a couple.
Well, he was destined to get one, wasn't he? He's tried so hard once again tonight, offloading all night, but he saw that the defence was still getting back on side at the market area. They weren't ready. He had Preston Campbell in front of him. Preston's only a little fellow, and Johns is very, very strong. He drove straight into him and just banged the ball down.
He just picks his mark, doesn't he? As Paul pointed out, with his build and his vision, he is almost unstoppable. He just knows when to go. Got a triple against the Warriors from a similar distance a few weeks back. Carved the Roosters up from close to the line last weekend. Tonight, well, we haven't had a try for a little while, so he's got another one on the board for the Knights. Gives himself a good opportunity to keep this 100% kicking record intact.
As the Knights keep a glowing record against the Sharks intact here. I said at the top of the show they've only won once here since 1988, the Sharks. And they haven't won here since 1995. As Andrew converts his own try, taking it to 38-0. The Knights over the Sharks at Energy. From the restart. And we welcome you back, those that have been to breaks. Daniel Abrahams back on his own 20-metre line. Stephen Simpson. You're looking at a young man very much on an upward spiral. We spoke about him earlier tonight. Origin this year, almost certainly. Probably a green and gold jumper on the end of it.
And tonight it's been good to see him operate on both sides of the ruck. Normally far to the right, Steve Simpson. As we saw from that last run, he's now coming across to the left every now and then, just mixing his game up. John's doing the same here with the kick, Best allowing it to find touch, 15 out. Good field position with just under the hour.
Just got to try and reignite this team again now. I think they've slumbered off a little bit. Be nice for the coach to see them come back and light up the retro rockets or something. Let's update the condition though on Matt Parsons, Andrew.
Yeah, well, Steve Simpson's up in the front row now, a position he filled capably last week against the Roosters, and that's because not only have they lost Josh Perry for the night, they've now lost Matt Parsons. They're not going to risk him. Ankle injury he initially suffered in the first half, aggravated again after half-time, so unlikely that big Matt Parsons will return.
So the Knights now down to just the one reserve. Finish the game with 14 players.
And the troubles for Cronulla. They continue on with the number 17, Ryan McGoldrick, making that mistake.
I suppose with the game in their keeping for the Newcastle Knights, it is a good opportunity now for these young players out there to get some experience in a less pressured situation. Plenty of game time now for O'Doherty, Esther Theo, Kurt Gidley, John Morris, of course, who was in the starting lineup, even Clint Newton. So they'll have a great time out there for the last 20 minutes.
Matt Gidley taken there by McGoldrick initially, and Graham coming over the top, cleaning him up. Sean Rudder unavailable for this match, as was Ben Kennedy. And of course Adam McDougall, well, there's a question mark on him for the rest of the season, isn't there? As Andrew tries to put Clint Newton through a gap. Newton inside the 10-metre line. Pulled down over there by Bosnich and Graham. Johns firing it for Gidley. Gidley letting one runner go, picking up a Davis. Here's a try. It is Anthony Quinn. Quinn goes in. Northwestern corner. The crowd, 26,000 of them. They don't care what the score is as long as it's a red and blue jumper.
Yes, and a couple of second-man plays employed there. Come wide to the left. Robbie O'Davis gets involved outside Gidley. What they're trying to do is target a man here. As we freeze it there, Colin Best is going to come in. This play continues. Best caught in no man's land. A very simple run there for Anthony Quinn. Really had to stay out on his winger, show more confidence in the man inside.
Well, he wasn't helped, I don't think, by the man inside, who Paul Fronze, who let his man get on the outside of him, sort of forced Colin Best to come in. But Anthony Quinn, he's played very well in the few games I've seen him play. It's a very famous name, of course, one of the great actors of all time, Zorba the Greek, wasn't he, Rabs?
I'm sure he was. I think he was.
And he's acting out his dreams tonight on the end of this magnificent Newcastle backline.
Oh, that's beautiful stuff.
Well, it's up around Logie time, Pete. I mean, he's got to start thinking with a bit of culture. He's nominated again, as you know, as you are. They're all nominated again, the film stars of Australia.
His favourite movie is Shrek.
Here is Andrew Johns, Anthony Quinn. It's wide, no goal. Andrew.
Ray, I know a kick didn't lead up to the scoring of that try, but just while we've got a chance, how about we look back at some of Andrew John's kicks from the first half? If you're a young bloke watching at home, go out to the park tomorrow with a football and try some of these. The bomb tonight, I mean, it brings down space junk, it went that high, and then the last kick for this try for John Morris is just out of this world. Sensational stuff from Andrew Johns.
Thank you, Andrew. Sunday, of course, we go to Brisbane as the penalty goes to Newcastle. And again, it's a hand on the ball. Matthew copping a penalty. Yes, 4 o'clock on Sunday. You'll see the Panthers against the Broncos. And it will certainly give the Panthers a very good chance to strike back in no mean fashion. What better time than Sunday to start trying to make some kind of a comeback from a deplorable start. Johns held it back. Simpson strides away. Campbell's after him. The big man. He wouldn't have a go. That would have been a double movement. Badiras then away from Kurt Gidley. Floating through the air, the 15. giving the ball to Matthew Gidley to score the try. Daniel Abraham giving the final pass. Beautiful stuff. Just putting a little bit of a flame under the second half.
And there was great patience shown here by Steve Simpson. Wonderful ball again from Andrew Johns. Simpson, he had support on the inside. Robbie O'Davis may have scored, but what a temptation here for Steve Simpson to reach out. And as Ray pointed out, would have been penalised. He was prepared to wait for the next play. Gidley, Kurt, onto Abraham. Beautiful ball also onto Matt Gidley. So they were prepared to wait for that one extra ruck.
Yeah, well done Preston Campbell as well. It was a great fullback's tackle on the big fellow. He's got plenty of speed, Simpson. And the Cronulla defence like Brown's cows in the end. And Gidley strode through.
46-0. And Andrew puts another 2 on the board. 48-0. What's this going to reach? There's 14 to go when we come back. Kick-off time. Again. Newcastle. They've already served notice that they're the team to beat this year. I don't think anybody would argue that. 5 from 5. It's going to be 6 from 6 tonight. And as I said to you earlier, now they have been installed for the first time this year as favourites to win the premiership.
And Ray, on the other side of the coin, unfortunately, at this stage, we look to the worst defeat suffered by the Sharks. And that was back in 1994, 56-12, as Peden takes a pass from Johns again, got support, good cover defence. 44 points is the biggest defeat for the Sharks. We have 48 at the moment. The dearest then. They got the pot boiling again. Matthew Gidley drops it on the left foot. Tahu's after it. Not with a great deal of enthusiasm, but he doesn't have to. He knew the Sharks were going to drop it. He was there, ready, Johnny, on the spot. And Tamana puts it in for a try. Oh, no, that is terrible.
Well, it's one of those nights Chris Anderson's just got to write it off. It's been a very poor performance by the Sharks. Once again, their short passing game and the skill they've got with their hands is just incredible tonight. And whenever they turn around, there's always someone there to back up. And on the end of it, you know, this great side, this wonderful side, a left footer by Gidley. We've seen him do that before. And poor old Luke McDougall just overran it, got a bad bounce. And there was a red and blue jumper there ready to pounce. They've hit 50.
You'd hardly think that Tahu was coming down there with a great deal of enthusiasm, would you?
Well, he was coming down just think, oh, well, I'll wrap this bloke up and they'll just have to ruck it out from inside their own 10. But the mistake presented itself and happy days.
I don't think I've ever seen a game where a team has gifted the opposition so many tries. When we look back on this one, there's probably 4 tries where they've been given the football to pick up and put over the line.
This kick from Andrew is to equal his club goal-kicking record of 9 in a game. .23 out on the touchline. It's going to come back. It's bounced back. It came back all right. Wrong way. Andrew.
A thought for this man on screen, hey, Matthew Johns, after the build-up to this week, a shake of the head. How deflated must he feel? The return to Newcastle tonight, EnergyAustralia Stadium. The reception he got at the start of the match was great from the fans, but since then, the opening whistle, basically, everything has gone wrong for the man who used to wear the number 6 jumper for the Knights.
There he is, draped on the background of rugby league fanaticism. Isn't it wonderful to come to a stadium as packed as this stadium nearly always is, watching a team that plays football beautifully. They seem to relish the game just as much as the fans do. Simpson.
That's why the fans do keep coming back here, Ray, because they've got a great football side and they want to see what will they do tonight, how much will they win, you know, what can they do, how many tries will they score, what will Andrew Johns do, will he produce some magic, Robbie Davis. It's just a great side.
Daniel Abraham has got his job done again tonight. Not that there was probably a lot of work to do, but somebody had to do something early, and of course it was Mr. Mercurial, the man with the ball now, who put in a couple of corkscrews. Now he's putting passes around him left and right. Abraham lays it on the ground behind, and the Sharks, just for a fleeting moment, are in the focus. Luke McDougall, I think it is, on the halfway line. Ooh, that tackle Nutley knows has been made. Look at the total tackles there. They've had to make 100 more tackles, the Sharks. Colin Best held by 3 Knights on the Cronulla 30-metre line. 16 is Paul, what is it, Franze, Triesta. 10-metre line now. Michael Hagan will be saying, hang on, this is important. Matthew Johns, arms free, got it away. McKenna throws it back. Kamali comes into the play, sweeps it out to the left. They've got the numbers, they'll go in. McGoldrick gets in to score. First grade debut, I think it is, for McGoldrick, and he's picked up a 4-pointer.
Yeah, good on young Ryan McGoldrick. And also Chris McKenna here, kept the football alive. Matty Johns exploring, trying to slice through himself. Found McKenna, the big flick pass, Brett Kamali. Saw a little bit of a chance out wide, and then Mellor gets the ball. Tamana Tahu didn't have much of a hope there. He had 3 coming at him. And despite the scoreline, you will always remember your first try in first grade.
And one of the few times the Sharks have been down in this area of the field. And finally they've put it to good use. And a good start for that young kid. Not so many players do manage to score a try in their debut.
6 from 7 against the Tigers last week, and this one looks like it's falling short, and it's wide. Andrew at 52-4 now.
We saw a young bloke make his debut at the Roosters last week, George Azzi, and dropped the ball the first time he touched it. That was the same story tonight for Ryan McGoldrick, but as Sterlo says, he'll remember tonight getting his first try. A little bit of a story to tell about him too. He came down to Sydney a couple of years ago from Cairns to trial with the Dragons, and they decided, well, no, he doesn't cut the mustard here, so he went down the road to the Sharks, got a start. 2 years later, he's playing first grade, so it's been a good effort from Ryan McGoldrick, who I'm told through high school mostly played rugby union.
Andrew Johns with this towering restart to the game, which he tried at half-time and then reiterated it there, but it's gone forward off the hands of Daniel Abraham. So a scrum will restart back on the Cronulla 20-metre line.
There's always something new, isn't there, with Andrew Johns? I mean, this is something that I haven't seen before, this swirling, towering kick from the halfway mark, from a kick-off. Always trying something.
Matthew Johns finding McDougall. And then they've gone further with McGoldrick. Back to the halfway line. Tackled by Tahu. Campbell into dummy half. And using Chris Beattie. Beattie taken there by Bill Peden with O'Doherty. The ball going backwards off the hand of Campbell. Picked up by Stevens. 52-4. Matt Parsons with the right ankle iced and blankets draped all over him. He's ready for the showers. Sharks now 30 metres out with Matthew Johns. And back for Preston Campbell. And he's skipped away from a tackle, but then run into a very hard tackle, and again he loses the ball. That ball apparently, though, got some help after the tackle had been made, in fairness. And McKenna is a few metres from the line now. They go to that corner again. Again, they've got the numbers, but Triesta took the ball himself and then lost it. It'll be played by Tahu. John Morris this time.
As we see Dean Triesta lose the football, was knocked out by Kurt Gidley. I just wonder how much this loss tonight will dent the confidence of the Cronulla camp. I know that Chris Anderson has a genuine belief that he can win his 3rd premiership title with the side he has at his disposal this year. writing maybe on the wall a little bit the last 2 weeks. They should have beaten Brisbane. As Badiris pushes through a couple, got support. Can't beat Campbell. I'll be keen to watch how they play the next month.
Andrew Johns. Beattie might have taken him out. Referee saw it. And Best goes scampering back, and then Treaster can't catch what looked to be a reasonable pass. Mellor in the last 5 minutes of this game. We're just a second or so outside, 5 minutes to go. Stevens, Kamali, Johns, Campbell. Preston tackle on the 40-metre line. Sharks trying to give them some reasonable memories. McGoldrick flashing through a gap and is tackled by Rob O'Davis. Brilliant tackle by O'Davis. Sharks, they hit that corner again and they're over again. And it's the same lad, or is it Luke McDougall?
Yeah, young McDougall has got a try as well. Some sloppy play again from the Newcastle team. They were thinking Andrew Johns may have got a penalty. And this is a great tackle from Robbie O'Davis. Goldrick had the opportunity to step back inside. And there you see Nick Graham. He's desperate for the football on the short side. Knight still coming back in defence. And McDougall runs strongly into the hole. There is a wrap on this young McDougall as well.
Well, they look as though they've clocked off about 10 minutes ago, the Knights, especially in defence. Half of them not bothering to get back on side there. And Cronulla just starting to come good, controlling the football a bit better.
I also don't think you can win a premiership with Brett Kamali as your first string kicker.
That one is just offline a fraction, hitting the upright, bouncing back. 52-8 with 3 to go. Andrew.
Ray, on the Sunday Footy Show, we'll catch up with Luke McDougall's older brother, Adam, who, of course, is out for the season with getting that knee reconstruction. But Adam said how disappointed it has been this week, but also to be missing the match against his younger brother, Luke. It would have been a rare occurrence. I mean, Luke is 7 years younger than Adam, and he was looking forward to giving him a bit of a touch-up, if you like. So it's been a double whammy as far as Adam McDougall is concerned. But as I say, he'll be a guest on the Sunday Footy Show on Sunday morning.
There he is, the youngster, the younger brother of Adam and Ben, and here's this towering restart again from Johns. You're half pie tempted to call it shallow. It's certainly not shallow, it's got plenty of depth about it. And it actually is with Badiris this time, but it tends to come down on the 20-metre line as opposed to on the 10-metre line, with kicks that we might refer to as a shallow restart. O'Doherty will play this ball right in front of the uprights, giving Newcastle a chance for one more try. Simpson. Badiris using the right side. Gitley. Tahu outnumbered. 3-on-2 out there. Now Johns is ready in the pivotal role. And puts a little kick in. The weight is just a tad too hard. Peden was sweating on another try. It would have been 3 for the night for Bill.
Well, next week, of course, next Friday night at ANZ, we see Newcastle travel to Brisbane to take on the might of the Brisbane Broncos up there. That'll be a great test for them. And the Sharks have got to recover in a week or 8 days, and they take on the Bulldogs next weekend. Always hard to beat, always a great battle, the Sharks and the Bulldogs, but of course the Broncos and the Knights could be the match of the season so far. See it next Friday night here on Channel 9.
Kamali running into Peden's shoulder, and then the weight of Abraham coming over the top as Paul Mellor gets this pass across to Franze. Ball goes down, wasn't raked. Knock on ruled. And this will be the last scrum of the game. Minute to go. As we see knock-on occurring. We're talking about sports coming up over the weekend. We've got the Footy Show on Sunday morning at 11. Our telecast later in the day from Brisbane as Brisbane and Penrith. in the Boots and All program that Andrew and Phil Gould present is an interesting piece. It's the worst conditions I've ever seen at a football field. It just happened to be here a few years ago. You'll see that as part of Andrew's Boots and All on Sunday. Easily the worst conditions I've seen at a football game. Scary, in fact. As the Knights finish up 40 metres out from their own line.
In the last 10 minutes for the Sharks, we've seen both Paul Mello and Chris McKenna moved into the back row for the Sharks. I wonder whether Chris Anderson may have a look at that as an option in the next couple of weeks as we go down to the final 10 seconds. They do like chanting the 10 out, especially when their team is so far in front.
So a dejected Chris Anderson as the crowd counts out the final seconds. It's not over for some of the Knights. Abraham was tackled, left the ball on the ground, and that is the final tackle of the night. A merciful ending, really, for the Sharks. They were in no man's land after 3.5 minutes, practically. 12-0 become 18-0. It went to 32-0 at half-time. And it's finished at 52-8 with the Knights defeating the Sharks. It wasn't very much a happy homecoming for Matthew Johns. It would have been lovely, wouldn't it? 24 all. Matthew and Andrew scoring a couple of tries and sharing the Man of the Match award. But that has not been the case. It has been a hell of a whacking. The Knights, the favourites for the premiership, 11 consecutive wins after tonight, and now they prepare for Brisbane at ANZ next Friday night. We'll come back on the other side of the break. Peter will wrap up this Friday night of football, and Andrew will have our Nutrigrain Iron Man of the Match for you. All that on the other side of this.
The Newcastle Knights continue to set a hot pace, unbeaten and 52 points to 8 winners over the Sharks this evening. Billy Peden got a double. Hughes, Simpson, Morris, Johns, Quinn, Matt Gidley and Tahu all crossed. Andrew Johns kicked 8 from 10. While for the Sharks, the two Macks got tries, McGoldrick and McDougall. Brett Camorley missed with his 2 attempts at goal. Man of the match tonight, again, no real surprise, is with Andrew Voss.
Peter, the Kellogg's Nutrigrain Iron Man of the match again. Andrew Johns, Newcastle halfback and captain. That's an awesome performance tonight, 52-8.
Yeah, big performance considering we had a few out. You know, it's a tough week because you had that fuzzy feel-good sort of feeling that Matthew's coming back to town, but I thought all round was a great effort. Once again, our forwards were unbelievable, but you know, great to see the young kids coming in playing well again. Kurt Gidley played great at centre, so looks all good for the future. What about yourself getting focused for tonight? The battle with Matthew, so much demands from the media. I mean, Channel 9, we had a bit of your time this week. Was it hard? Yeah, it was tough. It was a big week. Just glad I haven't got 5 or 6 other brothers who play football, but it was a special night. You know, I feel for Matty. I feel sorry for how it turned out. He would love to come back and you know, had a win, but yeah, full credit to our guys. It's a great win. Now, I've got to ask you about the kicks. We saw a few of them again tonight, not just kick-offs, but kicks in the first half. John Morris tried fantastic. How much work has gone into perfecting that? A lot of work when I was younger. These days, with the dodgy groin, I don't do too much, but I think it's just a matter of watching tapes and seeing what wingers react to, and you know, just doing them here and there. But you know, they're coming off, so I've got to keep doing them. All right, finally, I know your dad's here tonight watching the brothers do battle, but Mum was home babysitting, is that right? Oh no, Mum's here, but she's got my little boy and Matty's 2 boys are going back to Cessnock for the night, so hope that Matty's 2 boys don't pick on my boy too much. All right, Andrew, well done. Outstanding effort this week, I think, handling the demands of the media. Even better the performance tonight. Thanks, mate. I'd like to thank Channel 9 and Nutrigrain. Thanks a lot. Well done. Thank you, mate.
A 20-point haul for Andrew tonight, as well as setting up a couple of tries. And it was a family affair at EnergyAustralia tonight. Straight across to see his youngster Samuel, and in the background, Matthew's 2 boys, Cooper and Jack. They all look like they've had a good night, as did Andrew. 11 tries scored tonight. 1 of those will go into our Holden Try of the Week competition. Here are the details.
Be watching the Sunday Footy Show this year for your chance to ultimately score a fantastic Holden SS ute in our Holden Try of the Week competition. All you have to do is watch the Sunday Footy Show and pick the Try of the Week from the previous round.
Johns will do it himself. Thank you for your help, but I don't need you. Lion, he's going to make it.
There'll be weekly prizes at Holden Performance driving courses, with the ultimate prize at the end of the season being the Holden SS ute. Looking good in the big smoke or the bush. To find out how to enter, be watching the Sunday Footy Show for all the details, and the Holden SSU could be yours.
There's some great prizes there. Do get involved. Andrew Johns got one try. He also asked us to pass on his $1,000 to the Curry Junior Rugby League. Now, plenty to look forward to starting later tonight with our AFL coverage. Essendon take on Adelaide from 11:10 p.m. On Sunday morning on the Footy Show, we'll be joined by Jason Riles and Ashley Harrison. In the spotlight is Mark O'Mealy and a special feature on Andrew Johns. And that is followed, as usual, at noon by Boots and All. It's a different look at rugby league, hosted by Andrew Voss and Phil Gould. At 1 o'clock, live AFL action once again, this time from Football Park in Adelaide, with Port Adelaide taking on Carlton. And later that afternoon, NRL action sees the Brisbane Broncos play host to the Penrith Panthers up at ANZ Stadium from 4 p.m. Next Thursday night on the Thursday version of the Footy Show, we'll be joined by Matthew Johns as the guest host, and the much-anticipated return of Ryan Girdler's Their House from 9:30 p.m. And the following night, a great way to kick off round 7. Paul Vorton said it could be the match of the year up to date, and it may well be the case. The Brisbane Broncos up against the Newcastle Knights. That's from 8:30 p.m. Do check your local guides for all of those coverages. But tonight, they were on fire, Newcastle. 44-point winners over the Sharks. Thanks for your company. Until next time, on behalf of the Channel 9 Rugby League crew, it is bye for now.
This has been another presentation from Nine's Wide World of Sports. Friday Night Football, brought to you by Holden Drive On, Telstra, the Navy, Army and Air Force, Amy, Victoria Bitter and KFC.